Jacksonville loss would?
I'm not worried about the Jacksonville loss. The Jacksonville loss hasn't carried on to the season whatsoever. If you've seen our training camp or you've seen the way we've played in the first 2 games, it hasn't had an impact on our team whatsoever. Our team is connected. Our team has played its heart out in 2 games, and we've lost 2 tough games. But it has nothing to do with the Jacksonville game. And if you ask anyone in our locker room, it has nothing to do with the Jacksonville game. And that's just the truth. It's a convenient storyline for you and for everybody else, but it's not the truth. We've lost 2 tough games, but the guys in that locker room, the men in that locker room, they are finishers and they have what it takes, and we're excited to prove ourselves. We just lost a game in overtime, Jeff, so how do you think the mood is? How do you think the mood is? How do you think it is? It's tough. It's tough. It's a tough group in there. There's a lot of pride in that room, okay? And we put a lot into this, and we got a good football team. And so we've lost 2 tough games. We've got to bounce back, learn from our mistakes, and be ready for Minnesota.
Safe to say Brandon Staley is not with the shits after the Chargers fell to 0-2. And that is how we kick off Brother from Another. So Brandon Staley says that nobody with the Chargers is worried about last year's collapse against Jacksonville in the playoffs. Broad question. Yeah. Take it wherever you want to go, sir. Patriots, Bengals, Chargers, Broncos, Bears. Go back to Thursday night, Vikings. You may have covered it on Friday when I wasn't here. I'm not going to include. Oh, that's right. That would be weird. I'm not going to include the Texans and the Cardinals because, obvious reasons. And then going into tonight, we have the Steelers and the Panthers, who could be 0-2. Yep. So that leaves 6 teams: Patriots, Chargers, Broncos, Bengals, Vikings, Bears. Who are you worried about? Most worried about?
All right. I'm going to tell you who I'm most – I'll tell you the answer. I was most worried about Cincinnati, Michael, because that's my Super Bowl.
But you changed your mind?
I'm wondering –
You changed your mind to the Chargers now after hearing Brandon Staley?
Yeah, but see, let me just say about Brandon Staley. What do you say? What's the line? We've all heard it before. We've heard it many times. Hit dogs do what? Hit dogs do what?
Hit dogs holler.
Okay, they holler. And it's on his mind. It may have been an inappropriate question. It may not even be fully true. But it has some particles of truth in it. Because if it didn't, Brandon Staley wouldn't have responded that way. That's been on his mind. That's been on his heart, Mike. That's in his chest. And he was just waiting for anybody, to ask him so he could get that off. But it is connected in a way. But, okay, the Chargers, I'm not worried about the Chargers only because I didn't have them as one of my favorites in the conference anyway. But the Bengals, I thought the Bengals were going to be the best team. I'm talking in the past tense, only because they're 0-2. I'm not writing them off, but I thought they were going to be the best team in the conference. Picked them to go to the Super Bowl and win it. They still could do it. But I'm starting to wonder about Cincinnati, not just 0-2, but did you bring Joe Burrow back because you felt like you needed that? Did you need that at the start of the season? Joe Burrow looks like a guy to me. That needed 4 more games. I'm not saying 2. I'm saying 4 more games just to get himself right and then come back, and you hope that you're a good organization now.
Didn't Jamar Chase say this? Like Jamar Chase, see you week 5? Wasn't that what he said?
Yeah.
Isn't that what Jamar Chase said?
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, you're a good organization. You weren't always, but you are now. If you're a good organization, you should be able to go 2-2. Go 2-2. Stay afloat with the 4-game absence of Joe Burrow. So I'm worried about them, not just because of their record, because you win a game and everybody feels good. I'm worried about that guy. How's he doing? Was he ready to play the season when they put him out there? He didn't look right last week against the Browns either. Whether they won that game or not, he didn't look right. And now he's re-aggravated his calf. That is the big story for me. Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Okay.
In that order.
All right, so that's your big 0-2 story. Got you. All right, so process of elimination, if I may. Patriots 0-2 for the first time since 2001, since you and I were sharing a press box. But you know what? It was against the Eagles and the Dolphins. They lost them for different reasons, but I'm not panicked about the Patriots. And maybe that has more to do with my lack of expectations for the Patriots. I don't know, but I'm not panicked about the Patriots. Well, but I'm enjoying it. Okay, well, but you know what? More of Bill Belichick slamming down his challenge flag. More of Bill Belichick reinventing the kick block. You know what I mean? So there's highlights in spite of, why didn't anybody think of that before? You know what I mean? Like a running start to block a kick. Dope. Of course.
That was a dope play.
You know?
That was dope.
Oh my God.
That was dope. He
like,
tied it up too.
You know what I mean?
Come off the edge. Coming off the edge
right.
like the kick blocking Lawrence Taylor. I'm
here for the oop-de-oop to Billy Bob, a.k.a. Cole Strange. Like, I'm okay with the Patriots 0-2 start, okay? I've seen worse, all right?
Yeah.
The Chargers, who we just finished talking about, this is a cool stat, except if you're a Chargers fan or a member of the Chargers organization. 33rd team in the Super Bowl era. Have you seen this stat? 33rd team in the Super Bowl era with 50 or more points and no turnovers through 2 games. They're the only team to start 0-2. Which tells me,
that's cool.
as usual, the Chargers are better than their record would indicate. But Parcells says you are what your record says you are. So that's the Chargers. The Broncos, Russell Wilson is who he is, and he isn't who he isn't. Okay? Like, I'm not shocked that Sean Payton is already frustrated with Russell Wilson, because you know what? That's Sean Payton and that's Russell Wilson. They blew it to the Commanders, who I'm more impressed by than I am concerned about the Broncos. Didn't have high expectations for them either. Bengals, because the window is Joe Burrow's career, and they started 0-2 last year, and I know it's a different year. Not worried about them yet. Not yet. Okay. Not yet. Your points were all valid. But just not yet. Okay. The Vikings, speaking of turnovers, have lost 6 fumbles. I think they're better than their record would indicate. They've lost 6 fumbles. Okay. Which leaves the one team that I am actually concerned about. And no, I do not roster Justin Fields on my dynasty team. I'm worried about the Bears, man. I'm worried about the Bears. Because, again, and not that I thought they would be a playoff team, but I thought they would take a step forward. Instead, it seems like we're seeing regression. Like, this is how it starts. This is how it goes with young quarterbacks. They come in and they're drafted by an organization that's not properly set up to develop them. And then, all right, out goes one coach, okay? And then another one comes in, another regime comes in that didn't draft you. And they say, okay, we're going to commit to you, though. And then you struggle. And then it's like, okay, now it's CYA mode. And you don't take that step forward. They go out and they get you a wide receiver, the caliber of a DJ Moore. And you don't hit the ground running. Literally, you don't run. Like what he did great last year was running. We're not even seeing those explosive running plays from Justin Fields. And I'm not saying it's all Justin Fields. The coordinators bear some responsibility. You know, the team, the offensive line, yada, yada, yada. But this was about Justin Fields progressing. Instead, he's looking like Mac Jones last year and regressing. And so how bad does it get in Chicago? You worked there. You literally had a cup of coffee in Chicago. You know how quickly the winds can change in the Windy City in Chicago, especially when it comes to that damn quarterback position that they've yet to figure out since Luckman. They got the worst luck since Luckman when it comes to quarterbacks.
Hey, listen. We need to.
Shout out to Jim McMahon.
Citation. You need a citation. Works cited at the end of Brother from Another, because somebody was like, Luckman, who the hell he? What Luckman?
Exactly.
Who's he?
I know, right?
Who he play? Who he play for? Luckman.
Right.
So, you're right.
So
they haven't. You're right. They haven't had this quarterback position settled in a long time.
So it's like,
in a very, very
are
long
we
time.
headed down that path again? And does this? A lot of time we talk about with quarterbacks. It's where you're drafted. It's the situation in which you're drafted into. It's how you manage, how you developed. Maybe he ain't got it, or maybe the Bears ain't got it in him and bring out whatever he's got in him. I don't know. But it's just, I'm discouraged and I'm concerned about what I have seen or have not seen from Justin Fields through 2 games.
But I'm just surprised that you would go there. Now, I understand all your points there with the Bears.
Because of macro. I'm looking at it from a macro perspective.
Yeah, but macro point.
Like everybody else is like, you know.
But with them, all the things that you're looking for from Justin Fields could be there and probably are there. But I would at least expect it from this type of organization and its point of development, where it's probably ebb and flow. They'll go forward a little bit, they'll drop down, and then they'll have their big spurt. Okay, here's a perfect example. This team's out 0-2. This team is now 1-1. But think about Detroit. Think about Detroit, which is now in year 3 of its turnaround program. So Detroit last year, this time last year,
take a step forward.
That was not this time last year, Detroit was not the team for a brother from another, because in November, they were bad. Okay,
Yeah.
in November they were bad. They won
fair.
like a game or two.
That's fair.
And then they finished with that 8-2 kick, and everybody start hyping them up. And they get themselves on the opener against Kansas City and win it. So I think the Bears are probably a few weeks away from showing whatever they have. Now, question is, do they have it?
Right.
Do they have it? Do you think they have it? I do. I think Justin Fields has something. I know DJ Moore's got something. I know that.
Yeah.
And I like the additions that they made now. You know, Ryan Poles did a really good job in the offseason spending the available money well on free agents so well, Michael, that he's still got money left over. You know, like you send your kids off to the store and they come back, how much money you got left? Nothing.
Where my change?
They went to the store. What change?
Yeah.
Okay, bring my receipt back the next time. I know there's some change. I want to see what you bought. But he went off. He spent a lot in the offseason, and he still has room to make some moves. So I think Chicago, we'll see it probably at the end of this month, beginning of next month. But I'm surprised you're not concerned about the 0-2 Bengals or the 0-2 Vikings.
Only because, well, like I said, the Vikings, like I think they're going to stop turning it over. I think, you know, and I've seen, you know, in both those losses, they were funky. I was just at the Thursday one against the Eagles. They were both funky, and they're not as good. They're not 13-win good, but they're not 0-2 bad either. I don't think. And who else you said? Oh, the Bengals. Well, because of Burrow, and again, not because, you know, just because you did it last year don't mean you're gonna do it this year, but. Maybe our Super Bowl picks were wrong. Maybe that ship has sailed. But I don't think I don't think the bottom's coming out of that organization. I don't think they're going to have a down year. They'll still be in the mix at the end of the season, although it's a very difficult division. And what the Bears have going for them is nobody's running away and hiding, or at least doesn't seem equipped to run away and hide in the NFC North. But what I'm saying about Fields is I just worry that he's going to be the next guy, because we talked about this during the 2021 draft. Which was all of them ain't gonna work out. That's just the way it works. Like, not every quarterback in that first round is gonna hit. That's what history tells us. So is Justin Fields gonna have to go the way of, a Baker Mayfield, who is obviously turned into a journeyman, but he is now docked in Tampa, the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and here's their fearless leader, your guy, Baker Mayfield.
There was a couple times today where you should have been sacked and you find your way out of it. For you personally, do you sort of relish plays like that in terms of, like, it fires guys up?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to, you know, obviously if it turns out well. But yeah, it fires them up knowing that even if a lineman gets beat a little bit, we still have a chance. And our guys are going to continue to work in the scramble drill aspect. And we're going to have a lot of big plays when it comes down to that. And yeah, we just need to capitalize. And yeah, I'm pretty dense back there, so it's quite the load to take down.
Baker's given great press conference over the years. I'll say that.
He has.
What are you saying? I peeked at your feed. What are you talking about? I told you so. What you talking about? Me telling you? You telling me? You telling them? Like, what you talking about? What you talking about? I told you so.
Oh, listen. I told you. I think I once had a feed item that said I haven't caped up this hard for Mayfield since Curtis. Hey, man, Baker's my dude. Baker was in a bad situation in
Which
Cleveland.
one?
And that.
Okay.
The worst one.
Okay.
The worst one.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I don't know. You talk about quarterbacks not finding a good quarterback since Luckman. Browns haven't had one since Sipe. Okay. Or maybe Graham.
Well,
okay.
no, come on, man. Don't shit on Bernie. Oh, come on, man.
Bernie. Shout out Bernie. Sorry, Bernie.
I once scored 91 points in a Tecmo Bowl game with Bernie Kosar. Don't sleep.
Did you really? Who were you playing against?
91. The computer. 91.
91. Okay.
91.
CPU's come a long way.
I used to come a long way stats on Tecmo Bowl. This is you talking about come a long way. This is how nerdy I was. This is why I was destined to do this. I used to count my own stats on Tecmo Bowl. You kids got Madden to count the stats for you. OGs counted their own stats on Tecmo Bowl for the whole season.
Wait a minute.
Every play, bro. Every play down.
Drive started at the 24.
Exactly. Minus 24.
Check down.
You know?
Check down
6
the
yard
Mac.
run by Kevin Mack.
Biner.
Right. 10-yard run by Ernest Biner. 30-yard pass to Webster Slaughter. Absolutely.
Webster on the slant. Webster Slaughter.
On
Brian Brennan.
Come on now.
Shout out. Old Browns. Could never get it done. It's too bad.
Interception by Minifield and Dixon. All right, go ahead. Keep going about Baker Mayfield, though.
But look, the Cleveland Browns, we know they haven't done quarterbacking well. They haven't done quarterbacking well since their return to Cleveland in 1999. So Baker Mayfield, it's not just the position, it's the organization. And I'm still not sure the organization has gotten it right. He got there, he made some mistakes, I know it. But he never was as bad as they made him out to be at the end. And I use that term
he was also
intentionally.
Hurt.
He played hurt. I use that term intentionally, quarterbacking, because some people use that term adulting. And the Browns accused him of not doing adulting well.
The adult in the room, the infamous adult in the room report. I remember that, yeah.
And now, now that he's out of there, I think, and not Carolina. Carolina was like a little blip. I think the Rams experience did wonders for his confidence. That first game,
dude, coming off, I was there. Rams, coming off a plane,
awesome.
coming off a plane, not barely unpacked and beat the Raiders in prime time. That was my highlight of the season last year.
I love that.
Incredible.
And then just having, and it's an unintentional benefit. Sometimes you find yourself in a different situation or different situations in one year. You say, this is not what I signed up for, but what it allows you to do is understand how other people conduct their business. He had a brief dalliance with Sean McVay. He got to see how that works. And I think now he's just a different, humbled guy in Tampa Bay. He is a good quarterback. There's a reason they took him number 1 overall. It was not a mistake. And I think you can do some pretty good things with Baker Mayfield. I didn't pick them to win a division. I hope they do. I hope I'm wrong. I picked Atlanta. But I can see Baker Mayfield having a nice comeback player of the year type of season. I'm so happy he's 2-0.
I thought he could do something like this. Not necessarily 2-0. I thought he could do something like this. A lot of people in the fantasy football community were looking for this year's Geno Smith. And Baker fit the bill in terms of, okay, wait a second. A pretty good defense when healthy. Great skill guys. A team that just, needed some quarterback stability with the retirement of Tom Brady. And shout out to Ty Bowles. It's another guy that was under fire. I know the season got a long way to go. The ship could still sink. But for the time being, it's like Ty Bowles is somebody people are looking at is he funny in the light? Now that Bruce Arians is gone, given how last year went. And, shout out to them. But you mentioned the Falcons. I'll ask you this. Who is your favorite? Because we could go impressive, which would probably be the Cowboys. Say what you want about who they played. 70-10 is 70-10. I could say who is your most impressive 2-0 team. I could say who is your biggest surprise. But I'll just say who's your favorite 2-0 team. So, I mean, that eliminates people like, the Cowboys, the Eagles,
I got it for you.
The Niners, not the usual suspects. You know what I mean? Who's your favorite 2-0 team?
I'm going to do it like we used to do in basketball. You give me a pass, and I go no look. I just tap it to you for an easy assist. That never happened. I was never that good of a basketball player. But I'm going to take this and give it right back to you and say my favorite 2-0 story is a commanding story. It's a commanding story. Go ahead, Sam Howell. Go ahead, Eric Bieniemy. Go ahead, Washington.
Speak on it.
Look, it's so good. You would think the story would be good enough if coming to the 2023 season, Commanders fans learn that Daniel Snyder sold the team. That would be enough. We
That
don't
was
have to
enough,
win a
right.
game. Daniel Snyder's gone. But wait. But God. Okay?
Are you a believer?
There you go. I'm a believer.
Because
I'm a
the
believer in Sam Howell.
only person I sweat more than Sam Howell is Brock Purdy. Like I told you, Sam.
Okay.
I was saying last year, why
I
are
love
these
it.
fools fooling around
Go ahead.
with Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke? Why are they fooling around with them? Why, like, your quarterback is sitting there. I was like, and once y'all put him in, he ain't coming out. And they waited till the
was
last
good.
game of the season, like,
And
oh,
they gave
what
him
do
the
we have?
job.
Sam
They
Howell,
just
man.
gave it to him. It was like, you
When
got
they,
it.
when they ain't give it to him, they made him compete. They made him compete with Jacoby Brissett. But that team could make some noise, man. Like,
Well,
that division,
come on,
that division is stacked. No, I mean, Jacoby, you know, Unc could play now. Unc could give you a run for your money. But it was like, look, I know they wanted him to win the job, but still, it was a competition as much as there was a competition around the league.
I thought we were being
Wasn't
real.
Kyle
here.
Trask.
I thought we were being real.
Wasn't Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
But no, but like, that's a tough division, but that's a talented roster, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And the skill side for that matter. Like Brian Rock, just a lot of great stories. I
love it.
But hey, what y'all gonna say about Eric Bieniemy when Sam Howell lead him to the playoffs? Y'all gonna say Andy Reid was calling plays too? it was Andy Reid calling plays from afar? I'm asking for a friend. How's that gonna work? How's that gonna work?
Who's he talking?
Right.
Who's he talking to
How's
anyway
that
in
gonna
that
work?
headset? Who's he talking to? Like Andy can't coach his team and Eric's. He doesn't have what it takes. Ron Rivera's an offensive guy.
Well, I think our team is 5-0 against Bill Belichick. It's never a me thing. It's never a me thing. And, you know, I don't think we ever look at it as, oh, we beat them once, we beat them twice, we beat them 5 times in a row. Every time we face Coach Belichick's team, you know, it's always a challenge, and we know we're going to get their best. But it's hard to play against a team like that, especially here on the road in Foxborough. You know, we're going to take them however they come, and you know, we'll continue to move forward on whatever team that we have next.
All right, our team just got a lot bigger. We got Connor Rogers, we got Lawrence Jackson. We're going quad box. We're going 4 wide here. Empty backfield. No, empty would be 5. We're going 4 wide. Okay, spreading the field a little bit. And we played that Tua sound really. Not that it takes Tua to bring a smile to your face, Lawrence. But like, I know you've been a Tua truther for a while. With 2 and 9, I know that's been you for a minute. Like before it was popular.
I'm an unofficial member.
Yeah, well, unofficial. I thought you started the club. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just trying to give credit where credit is due.
No, because there's like an actual page on Twitter called 2 and 9, and like I can't get that deep into it because they get to talking crazy and stuff. I just keep it at a football standpoint, but these folks be ready to go to war about Tua. Like, I like you as a player, but that's it, dog.
Okay, fair enough though. But what did, like, you know, he didn't put up 466 last night. But what did you see and learn from Tua? And as you just heard, him remaining unbeaten against Bill Belichick and the Dolphins moving to 2-0.
Yeah. Well, what he said is exactly right. None of the previous games against the Patriots matter once you get to this one particular game. And you saw that early and saw what the Patriots was trying to do on the defense. They were not going to get beat over the top. And you saw that as Tyreek Hill, he only finished with 40, 45 yards receiving, but he was still effective. What Tua did that impressed me this game was just simply take what the defense gave him. Last season against the Chargers, where Tua and the Dolphins failed at was just trying to beat these guys over top, trying to blow them out in a big primetime game. That caught up with them, and the Chargers end up smoking them. This time around, they're simply saying, hey, you don't want to let us beat you over the top? We'll take what you give us. So he hit them with quick hitters. The offense was moving up and down the field a lot. The Patriots, a good defense in their own right, played a lot of bend but don't break defense. So you wasn't going to go too crazy on a Bill Belichick-led defense, but still impressive nonetheless to come away with the win.
Hey, want to pivot here from Tyreek Hill's new quarterback to his old quarterback. So a few minutes ago, top of the hour really, we got word from Adam Schefter, I'm sure, and others, I'm sure, that Connor, the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have restructured his agreement, giving him $210.6 million between 2023 and 2026, the most money in NFL history over a 4-season span. And his compensation for those years is now fully guaranteed. Also, the Chiefs and Mahomes plan to revisit the agreement again after the 2026 season. Furthermore, after Joe Burrow's extension, Mahomes had dropped to 8th among quarterbacks in average annual salary at $45 million. With 9 more years remaining on the contract he signed back in 2020, he's now back near the top. So Patrick Mahomes, we all talked about he was underpaid by choice. The Chiefs have rectified that. What they haven't rectified, even though they're 2-0, or excuse me, they're 1-1, they lost to the Lions, I beg your pardon. Even though they beat the Jags, what they have not rectified, and what seems to be still problematic, Connor, is who the hell Patrick Mahomes is throwing to, other than Travis Kelce. What, if anything, did you see from the wide receiver group, or have you seen from the wide receiver group, that leads you to believe that Patrick Mahomes can repeat last year's success sans Tyreek Hill?
What I saw, Michael, is them doing everything they can to figure out who's going to step up. They had 9 players with 2 or more catches in this game. I think 11 players in their offense caught a pass. So everybody's out there. They're trying out everybody on the field, and they're trying to get into rhythm. And I think Jacksonville's defense deserves some credit, but now this is back-to-back weeks of it just not always looking in sync for the Chiefs offense. And that feels so rare to say about an offense with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. Kelce, when he's full throttle, full go, when that knee is fully right, it's a different story. He's a one-man wrecking crew, but you need a wide receiver to step up here. And I think over time, Rashee Rice is a guy that can finally, can get his footing. They use the second-round pick on him. He's a rookie. He'll play more as the season goes on. They have to be feeling a little better about what they saw from Sky Moore in this game, but I don't know if long-term Sky Moore is going to be a top 2 wide receiver on the field. And something the Chiefs do every single year, or want to do every year, is the second half of the year, they want Jerick McKinnon to be a big part of this pass game, but they don't want to burn him out in the first half of the season because he's a guy throughout his career that always gets banged up. So they have McKinnon waiting in the wings to take on a larger workload in that aspect of the game too. I think they'll be fine. They're just still really in the last phase of their own preseason. I know it seems crazy to say, but that's where they're at.
Lawrence and Connor and Michael, I want y'all to just comment on Mahomes, the Mahomes contract and the Mahomes way of doing business. Obviously, you look at Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in football, but he does it in so many different ways. How could you not reward that as a franchise? He can go out and he can pass for 5,000 yards in the season, be the MVP of the league. You can win a Super Bowl off that. He can give you like 2 good drives during the game, but those will be impactful drives. You can win a game off that. He can play like that. I wonder how you all see this still ascending, still transcendent talent with this huge contract. Lawrence, start with this. Go around the room. I want to hear you guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy too, right? Because we saw the start of a new ascension last season when he lost Tyreek Hill. There was a lot of talk about Tyreek and Patrick Mahomes both, being without each other. What was each person going to do? Well, Patrick Mahomes went out there, won the league MVP, won a Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. First time that's been done since '99. That was Kurt Warner. So he had that challenge first, right? And last year they had Juju Smith-Schuster, who led their wide receivers in receiving yards. So now he's in a particular situation where he doesn't even have a Juju Smith-Schuster now. He's got a lot of young guys. And like Connor said, they're still trying to figure out like which one of these young dudes is going to step up because Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, Kadarius Toney played a lot better than he did in week 1. And look, you don't need any of these guys to be Tyreek Hill. You just got to have the production that Juju gave him and give a little more explosiveness than that. But this will be another, thing on Patrick Mahomes' agenda just to be like, hey, I'm finna show you I'm finna show you I'm still that dude. I'm gonna help develop these receivers. So yeah, it's week 2, and it's definitely a slow start for the receiving group. But as the season goes on, you can already see the improvement in just Patrick Mahomes' numbers from week 1 to week 2 against the, kind of the same talent as Jaguars, Lions. So, that'll be what we got to look forward to next.
That's exactly right, Lawrence. I mean, all great quarterbacks are going to go through a transition phase because they just typically play so much longer than these skill guys do. And that's what the Chiefs are kind of entering right now, where we know Mahomes, I know he doesn't make draft decisions, but he was probably very vocal about Rashee Rice. They work out together, and Rice fits his style. He's an acrobat. He's excellent when the play breaks down, coming back to the football. And also with Mahomes as well, the Chiefs have quietly an effective running game. You look at Pacheco yesterday, he averaged almost 6 yards per carry on 12 carries. So defenses are still fearful, extremely fearful of this Chiefs passing game, and they're not going to be able to load up the box, which means you're going to have to default back to the run game, which is effective under Pacheco. And I think when you look at the contract situation, it's amazing how he's carried himself, where he always wants his teammate, that talent, to stay around him, that extra money for the team to be able to get paid. They got the bridge deal done with Chris Jones. We'll see where that lands at the end of the season. They're going to be effective, especially when the cap blows up every single year. I don't think this will change how much the Chiefs operate offseason to offseason.
Yeah, and I'll just say, as far as the contract, guys, like, with all due respect to the parties involved in the process, I'm sure it's much more complicated than I'm about to make it out to be. But it feels like a formality. I'm like, hell yeah, you're going to guarantee the next 4 years for Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's in his prime. Like, you're not looking for another quarterback. Like, if anybody could warrant a long-term, almost damn near lifetime contract, it would be a Patrick Mahomes. I'm still mourning the cancellation of winning time. It's Magic Johnson signing a 25-year, $25 million contract. Like, it sounds big, but he's underpaid. And, it's just, and he's the face of your franchise indefinitely. Speaking of faces of the franchise, reference Joe Burrow in that contract he just did. So apparently Zach Taylor, a few moments ago, he said that it's hard to say whether Joe Burrow would be ready to play next Monday night against the Rams because he aggravated that calf injury. The Bengals are still evaluating it. Lawrence, Michael and I talked about our level of concern, which varied between the two of us, for the Bengals at 0-2, given that they started 0-2 last year. Obviously, it's a different year. What is your level of concern for these Bengals, given what you've seen these first 2 games against the Browns and Ravens, and just given the difficulty of the AFC North, the way it's shaping up, Lawrence?
Yeah. Well, it's tough either way. The good news is they looked a lot better in that second half against the Ravens. They actually looked like the Bengals. But, for Joe Burrow to even acknowledge the fact that his calf is a problem, that should have your antennas up as a fan. So going into the next game against the Rams, you better be ready to go, because these Rams they've been playing ball this year so far. They let one slip away. They're late against the 49ers, so you like to have Joe Burrow back healthy. But these calves, man, we don't really know nothing about them and how they function, and I'm not even gonna pretend to be no Twitter doctor because it ain't my body, it ain't how it works. But the fact that Joe Burrow is acknowledging that it's a problem, when professional athletes usually be like, nah, it ain't nothing. So when they say it's something, it's something. So it's definitely, some concern, because like you said, the Ravens now got one up on them. The Steelers got one up on them, so they're going to have to get going in week 3.
Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, I think, guys, he doesn't look comfortable, right? And like Lawrence highlighted, I mean, for him to come out and speak on it, it is pretty rare and shows how significant this is. And sure, you look at last year, they started off 0-2. He threw 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in those first 2 games, but this feels a little different. And this calf injuries, they can linger. And when you look at it right now, I mean, the schedule, sure, the Rams, they're feisty right now. The Titans, they're feisty as well. They have a great front 7, Tennessee. That's not going to be easy. And then you got Arizona, who almost gave the Giants a scare yesterday, before you go through Seattle, San Francisco, and Buffalo. So the Bengals are at a crossroads, right? Do we keep having him play through this and not be particularly as effective as Joe Burrow can be? or do we turn to an uninspiring group of backups and let him get right and see how the second half or maybe the final 3 quarters of our season go? But I think the tape tells me that Joe Burrow doesn't look right. And he is just such a better player than this that it's probably a bigger deal than anyone is letting on.
Yeah. No, he looked better in the second half against the Ravens. But, Michael, when we talked about this earlier, I probably didn't account enough for him being compromised. My thing is they're just too talented and enough of a veteran group to not fall into too deep of a hole. But if he's compromised, all bets are off. Maybe the official coach of Brother from Another Michael, would you say, or at least in your estimation, is Mike McCarthy, right?
Mike McCarthy.
McCarthy. It's Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You keep up
I wasn't
for Mike
expecting
McCarthy
that.
here. No, that's like yeah. Michael capes up for Mike McCarthy probably because people tend to use him as a piñata, right, Michael?
Yeah,
exactly. That's part of it. The only problem with that, Connor, is with Mike McCarthy as our official coach, we always have like some time management issues with the show. We can't quite, can't get it.
That's
going.
what comes with the
But
deal.
Other than that,
yeah, you knew what you were signing up for.
But no issues so far. So Michael, start with you, and then we go back to Lawrence and Connor. But since that's your guy, and my guy too. But since that's your guy, like they can't control who they play, and they handled their business against 2 New York teams. One of which was being outscored 60-0 through 6 quarters. The other one has Zach Wilson. Enough said. How good are the Cowboys? And does it even matter at this point how good they are?
Well, look, how good are the Cowboys? One of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the NFL right now. Okay, best team in the NFL. I have no problem with that. I have no problem saying that about the Cowboys. There's nothing, you said they can't help who they play, but there's nothing fluky about what they've done. So they shut out the Giants in game 1. Giants have an amazing comeback against the awful Cardinals yesterday. They did score points against the Cardinals. It's like the extreme.
They did. A lot of them.
No, it doesn't matter what you do against us, Giants. You're not going to score. You're not going to score. And then you can go out and do your thing against the Cardinals, but that ain't got nothing to do with us. And as far as the Jets
just
Zach
beat
Wilson,
Buffalo.
Easy storyline to kind of jump on Zach Wilson. Obviously, it's an easier game with Zach Wilson as a quarterback compared to Aaron Rodgers. But I think if Aaron Rodgers had been healthy, who's to say I'm right? Who's to say you're right? So I'm going to say, I can't be wrong and I can't be 100% right. I still think it would be a tough game. If Aaron Rodgers had been quarterbacking yesterday against the Cowboys, their defense is fast. Their defense makes plays. It just always does. They come up with stuff. And so, there's nothing. I got no complaints with the Cowboys. And any issues with the Cowboys?
They look.
Any issues that you have with the Cowboys? Yeah.
Lawrence, they look complete.
You probably had them last year.
Lawrence, they look complete, and they may be so good that they just make people look bad, Lawrence.
Man, it's exactly that, man. The Cowboys is for real, and you could see them in the NFC Championship game. Also, watch out for the Eagles, too, who I picked the Eagles to win the division, man. But like Holley just said, this might be the best team in the NFL. Look, they can't help who they play. So when they do play inferior teams, you beat them down because that's what you're supposed to do. They got Arizona coming up. Next, they have a tougher defense to face in New England and San Francisco back to back. So I guess we'll get to see it there. But yeah, man, the Cowboys is for real. Like they were in the mix last year. They were just in the divisional round. Like they sent Tom Brady home in a miraculous fashion. So yeah, the Cowboys is for real. The defense is crazy. Looks like the best defense in the NFL especially when you have the best defensive player in the NFL in Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott. He's coming out for now. Thus far, he's like all those mistakes that he made last year. Like there ain't been none of those. Like he's playing like against the Giants. He didn't really have to do too much. Because the Giants did it for him, but versus the Jets team, a much tougher defense. Like he showed up, he showed out. They got the running game going. Tony Pollard showing that he could carry the load. They get my boy Deuce Vaughn in there getting some rest, man. So offense, defense, both looking great. CeeDee Lamb going for 140 plus. Like Dallas is for real, for real.
They really are. I think yesterday what was so impressive to me, like, Micah Parsons, he's on the road to winning Defensive Player of the Year. He takes over games. Same with CeeDee Lamb on the other side of the ball.
Shoot, or
what was
more.
impressive?
Hell, he might be MVP.
Yeah, right. Yeah, clean sweep.
Right.
I mean, the crazy thing yesterday, the Jets were outcoached versus the Giants' offense. The Jets have a great defense, and Mike McCarthy had the quick game going for Dak. They were creative. They got the ball out of Dak's hands. They didn't let the Jets' pass rush get anything going up the field against him at all, where Dak wasn't really afforded any opportunity to make that mistake we've seen him make in the past. So the Cowboys look well coached. They have talent galore. They have one of the best corner duos in football with Diggs and Stephon Gilmore. They have the best edge rusher in football right now in Micah Parsons. They're deep in the front seven. And Lawrence brought up Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is a significant upgrade than what Ezekiel Elliott had been the final couple years there in Dallas. Dallas is a terrifying team right now. I don't think this is just them beating up on inferior opponents, which is some of it. I think Dallas is going to do this to a lot of teams this year.
No question. And again, I'm not one of those guys that does the whole hate Dallas thing, for clicks or comments and all that kind of shit. But it's just one of those where it's like, yeah, we've kind of seen this movie before. Like, Dallas is good. They've been talented. They've been good. But will they be at their best and healthiest when it matters most against whom it matters most? And that's San Francisco. Fellas, we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. No disrespect to Philly.
Great.
No disrespect to Philly. But Dallas will tell you, the team that's in their head is San Francisco. They don't fear Philly the way they know they got to match San Francisco's physicality.
They respect him. They respect him, don't fear him.
They respect him. A lot of respect
Thanks,
for
guys.
Lawrence and Connor. Appreciate you, fellas. Thank y'all.
Good job, fellas.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Michael, do you know that you have never seen an ass whipping like you saw last night? Harris Tony the Giants, they're like exes that just leave them alone. Giants fans, leave them alone. You got your own problems, kid.
I'm not a doctor, okay? I get my degree from Doogie Howser University, okay?
We got a marker right there on the screen. It says 9/12/2023. This is my receipt right now. This is my receipt, a visual receipt. September 12, 2023. Do not count out the Jets for the division. Count them out for the Super Bowl. Count them out for winning the AFC. Don't count them out for winning the AFC East. But boys and girls, follow the example of your uncle, Mike Jones. Mike Jones is always on time. He's always early. And there were other Jet problems. For example, they had the wrong LaFleur. They had the wrong LaFleur as an offensive coordinator. You walk in and be like, oh, we got LaFleur. What, Matt? No. His brother. Okay. Okay. I don't know if Golden State would be a good fit because now Steph Curry has to be the second best player on the team.
Oh, no, that
To be
won't
honest, I mean,
You're not going to do that one.
I don't know.
You're trying to
that
trigger
work
me,
out?
but I'm not going to fall for it. There's no excuse for Josh Allen anymore. So that's where I am on that. He had me fooled too, sis, but it's good. It's cool. It's cool. We live and we learn. My mama used to say, when you know better, you do better. So, so there it is.
The best of, shout out to Matt, White, Kelly, Sophia. The best of is actually my favorite part of the show, Michael. You know why?
Why is that?
Not only does it catch me up on the 4 days that I missed, but no, it highlights, dare I say it without being complacent. I would say this show is pretty close to where I envisioned it, to where I always wanted it to be, to where we envision it. The best of I like because it just highlights the variety, the diversity, in terms of representation, in terms of opinion. Just the community, and so I look upon those best ofs, those well edited best ofs with a sense of pride, we got something going here. We building, we doing something. We got something unique, something special, something that I don't see anybody else doing, at least to the level that we're doing it. Dare I say it, we ain't hard to find, and we believe. We I can't even say it. I can't even use it properly. I can't do it justice.
Why can't you do it?
You know?
Do it. Go ahead, do it.
Because I ain't got the same. I ain't got the same. You gotta
get into character,
pride, man.
You gotta get into character before you do it.
Man, that's a different level of character. I don't know if you stayed up because we getting old. I don't know if you stayed up till 2:30 in the morning watching Shedeur Sanders. Forget Brady, he went Elway, went 98 yards against Colorado State. But here's Deion post-game talking about his quarterback, who just so happens to be his son. Where he ranks among his children, different conversation, but here's Deion on Shedeur.
Truthfully, it's one point in the game I said, we can't let this dude win. There ain't no way we let this dude win. You know, his press conference is going to be unbearable if we let this dude win. And but I knew even when we got the ball on the 2 or 3, 4 yard line, I said, as long as the ball in Shedeur's hands, we're going to get down this field. I knew that without a shadow of a doubt.
You've talked about it many times that, like you said in your opening statement, that if Shedeur has the ball, you have faith that he can go down there. This isn't the first time he's done it, but to be able to do it on this stage with the amount of eyeballs on it, what does it say about his progression as a player and as a man?
Shedeur's been that. You guys just hadn't seen him because he was at HBCU and we were secluded. I guess no one had TVs and they didn't work out here in the television that we were playing on last year. But that's just who he is. It don't matter where he came from. That's who that guy is. And his passion and his study habits and his commitment to excellence, it shows every weekend. I know a multitude of people, not you guys. You guys are family. You beautiful women are family. But people wait for him to fail. Like he can't keep this going. Yes, he can, because this is who he is.
Little Willie Beeman. He was always a star. Y'all just didn't know it. What Deion said at the end there applies to Deion. It's like people waiting for him to fail, but this is who he is, and this is who Colorado is, although they're 20-point underdogs to Oregon. First of all, can you imagine the scene if they beat Oregon? Like, they're literally going to have to roll out a red carpet for the USC game.
Yeah.
Everybody,
right.
like, you talking about bring them out, bruh. The Rock, Lil Wayne, Master P, like it's
Dwayne,
just anybody is pulling up
D-Wade,
to Colorado
Kawhi
games.
It's just everybody.
It's
he got Kawhi excited,
right? Fun guy. Like everybody wants to just touch the hem of Deion's garment right now. And I made the Tecmo Bowl reference earlier. We're gonna go back to another thing that we bonded over. Not Madden. Remember NCAA? When you take program and you end up getting all the 5 stars. So for me, it was always Central Florida because I wanted to go into Florida and compete with Miami and Florida State and Florida. So I turned around Central Florida. Next thing you know, I'm getting all the 5 stars. Had a dynasty. Yo, if Deion Sanders doesn't have all the top recruiting classes very soon, if not immediately, I'd be shocked. Like, seriously, like, who wouldn't want to? He's always, everything is just, nobody's recruited like this. Nobody has a brand like this.
Exactly. Nobody. I'm so glad you said that because I was going to say, I was thinking about it earlier. We've never seen this before. And by this, I mean the entire thing. Look, okay, let's look at Nick Saban. So the king of college football, Nick Saban. When he got to Alabama, Alabama had been down. He brings them back. They are perennial contenders, champions, multiple times over, right? But there wasn't this groundswell, this cult. Alabama wasn't here for the culture, okay? Nobody was saying that. It was like, oh, great. Hey, Coach Saban, you got us championships. Everything is good. Money's coming in. But this is potentially bigger than that. We haven't seen this in college football, and I don't think there's another coach really capable of doing it like this. And Deion Sanders,
he has every platform covered. He's all over Instagram and Twitter. He's on 60 Minutes. He's on Game Day and Big Noon Kickoff, and they talking about him on the grill, on BET. Yeah. Everybody
black
is
Twitter.
checking. You understand what I'm saying? Right. He got black Twitter and white Twitter. Everybody wants a piece of this action. And he is going to, if he decides to stay there, he's going to be like my Central Florida Knights on NCAA. Championships on the horizon for him very soon.
Mike, as you know, I don't gamble anymore, but who you got in that? I'm just wondering. 20 points. Who you got in that Oregon, Colorado game?
I believe. I cannot be accused of not believing. I got Colorado.
You believe.
I believe. Colorado, USC, I'm going. That's all there is to it. I'm effing going. Colorado, USC.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 7. It's a 10-yard penalty. I'm talking to America here, excuse me. It's a 10-yard penalty and a loss of down. Second down.
That is the best line I've ever heard out of an official.
Like, it really is. Like, that's... If we didn't think officials already
America here
carried themselves with a certain air of importance, like, I'm talking to America. Geno Smith needs to be mic'd up every game, because whether it's him yelling for God when Aaron Donald's coming in, or an official saying, I'm talking to America here. I don't know if America was tuned into that game. Geno Smith catches the best stuff on his microphone. Best moment of the weekend. Close second is Bill Belichick slamming his challenge flag. Close second.
Yeah, I mean, it's like slamming it down, too. And, he wanted to slam it down, Michael. Like, he wanted the dude to see it. I don't know. Did he want to hit him? Did he want to hit him in the face? He just wanted him to see that flash of red. That was a tantrum. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.